Hello everyone, I'm the Latino Gamer, bringing you my review of Metal Gear Solid The Twin Snakes by Silicon Knights, which is the Gamecube remake of the original Metal Gear Solid by Konami for the Sony PlayStation. The Twin Snakes introduces us to Solid Snake, a soldier who is pulled out of retirement when a group of terrorists known as Foxhound takes over a weapons facility and threatens to launch a nuclear weapon, led by his own brother, Liquid Snake. Solid Snake's longtime friend Colonel Roy Campbell is in charge of the operation, which involves sneaking Snake into the facility on Shadow Moses Island off of Alaska via submarine so he may rescue the hostages Donald Anderson and Kenneth Baker in order to figure out whether Foxhound can indeed launch a nuclear weapon and how to stop them. One thing you will notice right away is that this game is incredibly heavy on the dialogue and cutscenes. Snake has a device in his ear called a codec that he uses to communicate with Campbell and other allies. You can use this throughout the game in order to get information from other characters, such as tips on where to find certain weapons or if you need to know where to go next, which is especially useful if you're picking up from a saved game after a few days. The game also helps you by providing a mission log, which is readable whenever you load a saved game. Before long, you're introduced to other characters, including Nastasha Romanenko, Mei Ling, and Master MacDonald Miller, each of whom can assist you in different ways when you contact them via codec. The game is filled with interesting characters, from your allies to your enemies to Snake himself. His character in particular is both celebrated as a legendary war hero and recognized as a tragic victim to a world where such violence is called for.
This isn't glorious, it's just plain killing. Violence isn't a sport.
Each of the major villains is given their chance to soliloquize before dying, as if Hideo Kojima had plucked them out of a Shakespearean tragedy. Although the concept is not exactly foreign to video games, it can still be touching to see the reverence with which Snake and his enemies regard each other as warriors, even after Snake has delivered the fatal blow.
Rest easy. You'll die as the proud wolf you are.
Once the opening scene is complete, you're thrown into a room with several enemies and no weapons. This is where you realize that this is not like most other games. Your goal is not to defeat every enemy on the screen, but rather to simply stay alive, and the best way to do that is to not be seen. Welcome to the stealth game. The game does a good job of keeping you immersed throughout. The island compound is full of soldiers known as the Next Generation Special Forces. Unless you are a master of stealth or incredibly patient, you will inevitably be seen by enemy soldiers along the way. At first, Snake is limited to fighting hand-to-hand against soldiers wielding guns and grenades, but you can of course equip him with various weapons as you acquire them. You are able to use your shoulder buttons for navigating through your weapons and items. The controls work well for the most part, making use of every button without anything feeling really unnecessary. One of the things that makes this game stand out so much is the memorable boss fights against the members of Foxhound. Early on, Revolver Ocelot challenges you to a gunfight inside a room filled with explosives attached to one of the hostages you have been sent to rescue. This turns out to be only one of the more ordinary fights. You eventually find yourself facing a tank, a helicopter, fighting a sniper's duel from across a field, and even going hand-to-hand against a cyborg ninja, with each fight sandwiched between cutscenes. Of course, let us not forget what may be one of the most memorable fights in video game history.
I am Psycho Mantis.
The game and series as a whole loves playing with the fourth wall, especially during your conversations with Master Miller, wherein some of his advice is directed not only at Snake, but at you as well.
Trust your instincts as a soldier, as a gamer.
But the fight against Psycho Mantis is one of the most ingenious moments in gaming. His psychic abilities allow him to know your moves before you make them, while the game plays with your mind. To break up the long periods of time you spend trying not to be seen, there are a few good old-fashioned action sequences when you have no choice but to take out every enemy soldier on the screen. For those of you who have played the original Metal Gear Solid, as well as the sequel Sons of Liberty, the Twin Snakes basically just takes the added gameplay mechanics introduced in Sons of Liberty and applies them to the original. Of course, the graphics were updated from the PlayStation version, but the cutscenes were even redone to give the game more of an action drama feeling, which is especially noticeable in scenes with the ninja. For fans of the original, these differences do manage to refresh the game while still providing you with the experience you have come to love. The Sony PlayStation is credited as the console that truly introduced the mainstream adult video game, and nowhere is that more evident than in Metal Gear Solid. The immersive gameplay and exciting boss sequences make for one of the most enjoyable gaming experiences as you play through a thoroughly intriguing, even if sometimes convoluted, storyline. If you are patient enough to deal with the heavy amount of cutscenes and you own a PlayStation 1, 2, 3, Gamecube, or Wii, then you owe it to yourself to at least borrow either version of this game and play it through once. This game is an experience no adult gamer should miss out on, and still one of my favorite moments as a gamer. I tell you without hesitation that Metal Gear Solid is one of the greatest video games of all time. Thank you for listening, and happy gaming.